Good afternoon, everybody. We are here with Martín Guzmán, former Minister of Economy of Argentina. On behalf of the Latin American Policy Journal, we want to express our gratitude for taking the time to speak with you today. To introduce our audience, Martín Guzmán is Argentine economist with a PhD in economics from Brown University. He served as Argentina's Minister of Economy from 2019 to 2022, playing a crucial role in restructuring the country's sovereign debt. Currently, he is a visiting professor at Columbia University and co-president of the Initiative for Policy Dialogue, where he collaborated with Nobel Prize economist Joseph Stiglitz.
So we will first want to talk with you about the topic that you are very experienced with, which is sovereign debt issues. As a Minister of Economy of Argentina, you have led the management of a sovereign debt crisis that included the second largest sovereign debt restructuring in history in 2020, as well as the negotiations with the International Monetary Fund towards a deal achieved in January 2022. So given your experience in the field of sovereign debt and debt crisis, we would like to know what is your view on the risks of sovereign debt crisis in the world, and what do you consider are the key drivers of such risks?
Okay, well, first I thank for the invitation for the interview. What we're seeing today, it's a looming debt crisis in the global south. Every month we see a new country falling into a situation of severe debt distress, going into defaults. And this is a consequence of three critical events that we observed the last 15 years. First, in 2008, the fall of Lehman Brothers and the US financial crisis led to a reaction from the Fed and other central banks from advanced economies that included massive creation of liquidity through what's called quantitative easing. In this context, in which there was such a large creation of liquidity in the global economy, the liquidity was searching for opportunities, searching for yields. And we saw a number of countries for the first time having the possibility to issue bonds. The data is clear. We see increases in debt levels, also in countries from the global south, from that moment. And then we had COVID-19. And COVID-19 led to more debt for obvious reasons. We saw a global recession, which means a fall in tax revenues as a consequence of the fall in economic activity, and more need for the states to spend to protect the population, to protect the productive system. And that was a jump in debt levels that for some countries already created problems of debt sustainability, the incapacity to continue serving the debts. And we had a third event, which was the war in Ukraine, which made inflation the top concern for economic authorities in the advanced economies. It was actually the top concern for authorities all over the world. And the reaction of the Fed and other central banks was to increase interest rates and to undo the creation of liquidity that we had seen in 2008 through the program of quantitative tightening. So what do we see now? We see that there is less liquidity and it becomes more expensive. And that means that countries have more troubles, more difficulties in rolling over their debts. Some of them they just can't. And if they try to amortize the debts, that means that they need to make fiscal adjustments that turns them into destabilizing economic dynamics of more recession, more poverty, more inequality, and that doesn't increase debt payment capacity. So that's what explains where we are now.